Hey guys, John coming at you with another Diablo Immortal video. This video is going to be the breakdown between armor and armor penetration stats, what they actually do for you, what the damage output actually is. I tested these side by side so that way you know exactly how this works. I put it in a spreadsheet. If you go to my Twitch stream, I have all the clips that I took, because basically what I did is I engaged, I fought, I clipped it. I took that clip, I extracted the numbers from that clip. That way I had the proof on my channel. So that way, for those of you who are saying that I'm wrong or that are saying, oh no, armor pen is just amazing, that way you can see it for yourself. But I have all the numbers broken down for you. This video is going to be explaining it to you because armor pen isn't as good as you really think it is. All right, so to preface this whole video, one, this is going to be something I was going to do anyways. I wanted to talk about armor pen anyways, because I noticed already at the beginning of the game, as I was trying to figure out, okay, where do I actually need to focus stat-wise on certain things? Armor pen came up, and I saw that if you go into the game, you can actually see that armor pen is crit damage, okay? And so when you go over here and you go to more attributes, you say, armor penetration. Cool. It's crit damage. All right. That's awesome. Everybody likes crit damage, right? Everybody loves crit damage. It's just one of those things where it makes you do more damage, right? There's some things to take away from this. What good is crit damage if you don't have crit rate? Nothing. What good is a lot of things if you can't use it? So that's the thing. Armor and armor penetration, total breakdown before we even pull up the spreadsheet, are both situational stats that, in my opinion, whatever, they wash out. It's kind of a wash. It's however your playstyle affects you and also what character you're playing. So that's going to be the preface before we even get into the spreadsheet, before we get into anything, because I know all of you will probably click on this video going, what do you mean armor penetration is trash? Well, let's get into it and let's explain it. Armor penetration. Currently, I am a 48 higher than expected for your level in your current activity and difficulty, increasing your hit damage by 22%. You can see that this is exactly how this is worded. What this means is my crit damage is up by 22%. You do not see it reflect on your stats. It is reflected only by this description. Also notice that my critical hit chance is 11%. That never goes up no matter what gems I have. How I did this control test is I went in here and I swapped out my socketed jewels here from armor pen to armor. Notice that I have a rank 5 and a rank 3. When I click on this, I can actually replace them with a rank 5 armor. And I can also replace the other one with a rank 3 armor, keeping everything apples to apples. Combat rating never changed. Damage output never changed. None of the numbers changed other than armor and armor pen, and this is the best way to control the stat comparison, because the only thing that actually moved or rotated was armor and armor pen, which affects nothing else on my build. That is the baseline, okay? The second thing is, obviously, you can see I swapped those pretty quick. Now, what would be a good control test for this, right? A lot of you are going to be like, okay, well, how do you control this? What do you see? How do you do this? Well, you're going to control this, but you're going to pick one enemy to fight, and you're going to let them attack you to check the armor for block, and you're going to attack them to check your armor pen. That's the total breakdown of how this is going to play out for you. Now, note that armor does something slightly different than armor penetration. Notice I have armor jewels equipped, and now it says increasing your damage reduction from blocking by 10%. This does not mean that I get a higher chance to block because I equipped armor. What this means is if I proc a block, which is also going to go off of the same base block chance of 8% here, that I'm going to mitigate an additional 10% damage from that block. Now, I'm about to pull up the spreadsheet after I show you why this video got made. So basically, which is funny because somebody deleted their comment. I thought that was really funny when I went to go make a video. Somebody deleted their comment. But you can actually see where armor penetration is not useless. It's a very powerful stat. Well, we're gonna talk about it. I'm gonna disagree with you. and this is the spreadsheet to show you why. I'll link this spreadsheet down below so that way you can see it as well. This is the test, this is the control, this is all the damage numbers, that way you have all the information as well. We started off with the Paragon level testing. We wanted to see what that would affect, how that would affect it. Server Paragon, I was 84. My current Paragon was 83. I wanted to start below Server Paragon so that way I could see if maybe that changed the difference on what the actual requirement is. And when I say what the requirement is, it's because you'll notice that on the screen here, it says it's 82 higher than expected for your current activity. So I didn't know as the Paragon level increases or decreases of the server of your character, if that would affect that, if that would fluctuate, or if that's only controlled by if you're in Hell 1, Hell 2, Hell 3, Hell 4, so on and so forth. It seems like that's actually controlled by the Hell Paragons and not the actual levels. So that was test 1. And we recorded both data from 84 to 83 and then 84, and there was no change as far as that was. So this right here, this is satisfied, okay? We only attacked a Bloodsworn Spearwoman and Blackstone Village. That was the only enemy that we attacked, and we only took damage from this enemy. That way we could keep it apples to apples. We did this test in Hell 3. Damage done, I recorded. Damage taken, I recorded. And the block damage, because it procs, and you can see it, I recorded. So notice that this first one is the control. This is 2 Sapphires, rank 3 and 5. Sapphires are your crit, or your armor pen. My armor penetration was 343. And my armor was 401. Flip-flop that. My armor was 343. My pin was 401. Sorry, I flip-flopped that. I got rid of it. I had a note above these that actually said what they were. That's my bad. I'll add that in there. We'll add that in. We'll go armor, and then we'll go arm pin. And that way, just so that way you guys know, if you want to pull this up for yourself, you can compare it and see. Armor pin. Boom. Okay. Now there's also the 8% chance to block. That's what this is. So this is block chance. So right here, we're gonna put this as block chance. That's what that is. And now you guys have all the information as we're talking about this video. Okay, beautiful. And actually, you know what? We're just going to put that as block 8%. Okay, now you'll notice that on the other column on the right, we have all the damage numbers. So you'll see that damage done. I only used my primary attack. I used crossbow shot, which is my ability on the Demon Hunter. Here are the actual damage numbers on test 1 and test 2. Notice that test 1 is with the increased armor pin. Test 2 is with the reduced amount of armor pin. Now, what you need to be aware of if you reduce the amount of armor pin, and we'll go ahead and just shrink this down, is it tells you that your armor penetration allows the enemy to actually block, or gives the enemy a 5% increased chance of blocking your attack. That's all that does. So essentially that gives your enemy from having a block percent of 8, like what I have, right? Block chance of 8. It would be like a block chance of 13. That's what this means. So ideally, yes, you want to keep your armor pen to whatever this number is, however this is set. You want to kind of keep it at that baseline. So that way you're not giving your enemy an extra chance to do more damage to you, cause you more crit damage, okay? That is one caveat and one thing to note about this. Now, the other thing to point out is when we pull up the sheet, you're going to see that the damage on the left, this is with armor pin. Notice the numbers, they're okay, but they're pretty much part of the course of what the test 2 is. Mind you, this is attacking the same exact enemy. I did not change the enemy at all. This is 100% the same exact enemy each time. So that way I had accurate numbers. The thing that is different is when we get to the crits. The yellow highlighted is the actual crit attacks that happened. On test 2, without the armor penetration, it was 16,210 for the damage, which does jive because it says it's twice the damage plus whatever. So that makes sense, right? That's what we'd expect because that's about the same as doubling these, right? So that makes sense. With armor pen, it was 18,973. That is 2 times the average, right? Plus an extra 2,000. So it's, you know, it depends on how you do the math here. It's about a 14.5% damage increase. That does not translate directly with the 22% crit damage. Now, it could be a little different because depending on how you do the math here, you will notice that yes, if you were to, like, say, divide this by two, do some subtraction and then do the math a little bit, you're gonna get a slightly different percentage number. However, overall damage done and recorded was 14.5% difference. So this is the actual difference between the two. So this does not work exactly linearly like you see, right? When we stacked armor pin, we didn't directly see 22% crit damage increase than when we didn't have it. So keep that in mind. So even though it says 22%, does not mean that's what you got. Now, when we go over here to block, here's the difference between the blocks. Block chance was lower. We only procced 1, 2, 3 blocks before we died. When I did this test with armor stacked, we procced 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, 5. We procced 5 blocks. So which is actually a little bit better. We got lucky. RNG was with us a little bit more. And the damage was about 420, 423, which is a 10% damage blocked, which is exactly what this says. So when we pull up the character with the armor stacked on him, and we go to armor, it says a reduction from blocking by 10%. So it worked linearly like it was supposed to. So for armor pin, it did not work exactly like it said. For armor, it did exactly what it said. What does this mean for you and your build? That's the real question. That's what a lot of you are here for. That's what you want to know. As a demon hunter, armor pin, it is what it is. You can either have it, you cannot have it. The reason why I say that is because even if we stack armor pin on here, our crit chance is 11%. If you are open world farming, if you are farming for dungeons without a crusader, if you are doing any content whatsoever without a crusader or a barbarian, actually I don't even think barbarians buff crit rate, I think it's just crusaders. But if you are not boosting your crit rate up to 100%, then your armor penetration is not that important. It's not really making that big of a difference. The other takeaway of this is neither one of these stats is all that great. That's the full breakdown, is neither one of them are all that great, because armor only works if you block. You have to proc the block to get this 10%. Armor penetration, you have to crit to get this to work. And you have such a low percentage to crit that it doesn't happen that often. I did, on the spreadsheet, you can see where I did equally 20 attacks, and look at how many times I crit. You know what I mean? Like, that's something to keep in mind. Out of 20 attacks, I crit once on both times. Whatever. It is what it is. But at the end of the day, it's not that important. It's not going to matter that much to you. It's not going to make that big of a difference. So definitely keep that in mind. Now, if you are a crusader, if you are a barbarian, I think a barbarian can buff themselves up to like 75% crit rate. Armor penetration is going to be something that you're going to want to use. That's going to solve the difference between your playstyle of if you want to use armor pen, if you don't want to use armor pen. Me personally, I'm not going to worry about it. I'm not going to care. It's whatever gym I can get the highest of, I'm going to stick in here. I'm not going to be looking for the extra whatever for any of the other stats or anything else. I'm just not. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. It's not going to do me any good to say, oh, well, can I get other stats on here? Which you can't even get these on these pieces of gear. You can only really get them from gyms or from the Harajam. That'll be another video where we talk about the importance of the Harajam, what stats to focus on. This video will get referenced in that video. You know the spiel, right? It's YouTube. But the thing that you need to know and be aware of is when someone tells you that maybe a stat's not that important, because maybe they know what they're talking about, or maybe they've done some homework on it. Hopefully that spreadsheet will help you understand that, hey, you know what? At the end of the day, armor pen, yeah, it can be good. It can be good. It's circumstantial, but it doesn't work exactly as intended. It's actually a little bit less for the crit damage. And it's kind of circumstantial. You have to have crit rate to get it to proc right. This outlook may change. This video may age terribly. But for right now, in Hell 3, in Diablo Immortal in its current state, we are operating as intended and everything is exactly what it should be. Hopefully this helps you. Let me know down in the comments below if you understand the difference between armor and armor pen, if that made it a little bit more clear for you, so that way you know which one you need to be going for, depending on your playstyle, or maybe if that confused you a little bit. Let me know. I want to know. I want to know the general consensus on how you guys feel about this. Also note that it didn't change your combat rating at all. So each one you go for is whatever. It's all going to be about your playstyle and what you want to go for. Hope this video helped you. Yeah. Hope you have a good rest of your day. Peace.